So I've been playing a lot of Lost Ark lately. And in Lost Ark, one of the things that's become kind of a meme is how much you press the G button. G advances through dialogues, accepts quests, interacts with the world, opens doors. It does literally all the things. And I thought it would be kind of fun if the number of times you press G was counted live on stream via OBS. I did a little bit of digging, and it turns out that you can basically script anything you want with Python in OBS. So I found a script that someone else wrote. It didn't do everything that I wanted it to do, so I modified it, and I put together some instructions on how you can make a G-click G-spot calculator. So with this video, I'm going to teach you how to implement this into your stream, into OBS. You can use it live streaming, or you can use it for recording videos like this one is being recorded via OBS right now. It's somewhat of a convoluted process to set up. I've provided text instructions, and I'll link to those as well. This will be a video walkthrough where I will screen share. It's going to be a short video. If you have questions, put them in the comment section. I'll probably post this on Twitter, Reddit, wherever I think people might enjoy it, and you can ask me questions there. I'll answer them as best that I can. And if anybody has suggestions for how to make this thing cooler, let me know. So let's dive into it. Now, first things first, this is actually what it looks like on stream. I've blown up the portion of the screen that actually has the counter in it, but more or less you can assign a hotkey, and it can be any button or combination of buttons that OBS Studio lets you assign. You can assign that hotkey to a counter, and that counter will just add +1, +1, +1, +1. This is done directly in OBS. You don't have to go through like Stream Elements or any other service. It just works straight in the application. Now, it's a multi-step process. I've provided instructions here, and we'll walk through these instructions right now. At the end of the day, you'll end up with something that looks, something like this, although you can add the text that you want. The first step in the setup is to actually install Python. Now, there's a link here to the Python's download page. You have to use Python 3.6. If you use any other version of Python, this will not work. I would recommend using 3.6.8. That's what I tested with. So if you open this and you scroll down in the Python page, you'll find this Windows x86 64 executable installer. Click that, download that, and walk through the installation instructions. All right, so once you download this and you open it, you'll get this installer that will pop up. You hit install now. It's going to go through just a pretty standard, like it does everything for you. It's more or less idiot proof. On Windows, this will install it to your app data location. If that means nothing to you, don't worry. This is pretty easy and it's pretty foolproof. So it's going to go through its thing, blah, 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 install. Some thanks, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like nothing else happens. It just installs. That's it. Simple. You have Python on your computer. All right, now to check that you've installed Python correctly, go to your app data. So you'll go to C, users, your username, app data, local, programs, Python. I'll paste this in the description below. And you're looking for a Python 36 folder. If you see Python 36 with a bunch of files inside of it, you've installed Python correctly. That's all we need. Now, remember where this Python 36 folder is. Let's just leave this window open because we're going to need this path again very soon. Okay, now that we've installed Python, we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab this link, which is this OBS count things archive. It's going to contain the actual Python file that matters here, the one that's going to do the counting logic. Unzip this somewhere on your computer that you will not delete. It can be fucking anywhere on your computer. I put it in my user documents folder. It could be in OneDrive. It could be in wherever. Once you unzip this thing, you'll see a folder that looks a lot like this. It'll have a bunch of PNG files, a license file, some random shit that you can read or you don't have to read. This obscountthings.py is the file that we care about the most. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit plus and we're going to add a text source. Now, what you name this text source is actually very important because we're going to reference it when we set up the actual script itself. So we're going to name this thing, demo counter. You name it whatever you want. Make source visible, hit OK. Now, what you put in here doesn't matter. I'm just going to write text so that we can have this text on the screen somewhere. Now, this text is going to eventually be deleted and replaced with a number. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Tools. We're going to go to Scripts. In the Python settings, set this install path to where that Python 36 folder is. If you have trouble finding it, it means that something went wrong in the installation or it went somewhere other than app data local. You could Google some shit or you could drop a comment and I'll try to help you figure it out. This is critically important. Go back to Scripts at this point, hit the plus button to add a new script, and navigate to where you unpacked that zip file from earlier, this OBS countthings.py file, and hit open. All right. This, if Python was installed correctly and is working, you'll see 3 settings folders over here on the right. If you don't see these 3 settings folders, you done fucked up. Text source, we're going to set to demo counter or whatever whatever text source you created. You'll hit the demo counter. The save path, I point this to the same place as that zip file was unpacked. What this is going to do is it's going to write a text file that will persist the counter between OBS sessions. If you don't set this, you can leave this empty. If you don't set it, it will restart at 0 every single time you restart OBS. So if you want the counter to restart at 0 every time you restart OBS, leave this empty. If you want to retain the count between OBS sessions, like you want a running counter for every stream ever from the beginning of time until now, point this to a valid folder on your PC. So for me, it ended up being this path, and it's just a folder location. I leave the top box empty, personally. That will add a label in front. I use another text source as a label or like a logo or some kind of icon. You do you on that. So hit close. So now we're ready to go enable this via Hotkey. You go to File, you go to Settings. Once Settings opens up, you go to Hotkeys, scroll down in Hotkeys and find this OBS Count Things Count Up box. Add the hotkey that you'd like. I picked G, hit Apply, hit OK, and now when you type G, it'll go ahead and it will count. Every time you hit G, it will count up. Now, it's starting in the 200s because I had this running before, and it will continue where we left off. Now you have a counter, and you could do whatever you want. I also included this little G button animation. If you put it on a dark background, it looks pretty good, but I don't know enough about video editing to get this little black stuff out. That's a project for tomorrow. You can use this. If anyone is more skilled at that than me, then take a crack at it. This is included in the GitHub link below, so you could download it, mess around with it. If you do get a better version of this, please send it to me. I would love a pointer to it so I can update this repo. Enjoy setting up your streams with a counter. You could count anything, really. Anything that's hotkeyable in OBS, you can set. Now, this was a fun little project, and I know that there's a lot more that could be done. So if you have suggestions or you want some kind of update for this, let me know. Enjoy, have fun. I'm gonna go play Lost Ark. That shit is off the rails. I will see you all next time. I'm Retro T. Like and subscribe for more content just like this, and have a good night.